One check, microphone check, and we are live. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Jaya Talks. Here we are with Bryn as one of the representative from Hacken, and where this session is actually where we unpack the real conversations behind the Web3 growth, innovations, and also community. So I'm Theo, and I'll be your host for today, and I'm super excited because we're diving into a topic that every founder, builder, and even BD person could actually relate and should care about because this kind of thing has been requested for several weeks, and we finally find the right guy for you especially to answer all of your questions. So stop DMing me again. We already have the session running now. And the sessions will be about how to build trust that actually converts because it's not easy to build trust, but to build trust that actually converts it into something, it's another level. And in Web3, from what I know, trust isn't just a nice to have. I mean, it's really important aspect in our life, especially in the Web3, but it's literally, I would say, like a currency, a non-coin or maybe non-token currency, because it's what turned hype into adoption and followers into users, also conversation into actual deals. I know, like, you might seen some of the blockchains, layer one or layer two, that already built a really strong partnership with the Web2 giants. And I believe that behind that kind of crazy announcement, there are also some sort of like crazy communications behind that, crazy coordinations, teamwork, and everything that could actually convert the opportunity into like real deal. And for today, I will invite you guys to welcome our guest, Bryn Bennett, as a partner of security and compliance at Hacken. How are you, Bryn?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. And could you share a little bit about yourself and actually about the Hacken itself? Because I know that I've seen Hacken, like I've been monitoring Hacken since I think last year, since the audits and a lot of hacks news. And I would say that Hacken is one of the leading blockchain security firms out there, trusted by a lot of projects. I see a lot of partners from Hacken as well. So, yep, I'd like to hear more about it.
Yeah, certainly. So from the top level, Hacken is one of the biggest and longest operating cybersecurity companies in Web3. So we provide end-to-end blockchain cybersecurity solutions. We mix that in with compliance services as well. And as you say, we have over 1,000 clients and partners. So we are truly a giant network. And I think our body of work speaks for itself. We have over 1,600 published audits on our portfolio. Over the 8 years, we've found and helped to squish over 10,000 bugs, which is fantastic to be able to say. And for the projects that do come and work with us, we offer both pre and post deployment cybersecurity solutions. So before you go to mainnet, generally you would have an audit, but then after mainnet, you also need some kind of protection as well. So we have Hackenproof, which is our bug bounty platform, has over 45,000 white hat security researchers in there, and Extractor as well, which is our real-time threat detection, monitoring, and interception platform. So I can dive a little bit deeper into those offerings in a bit later. But yeah, for myself, I've been working in Web3 for must be 5+ years now, full time. Initially, I got into this industry because I was trying to automate some of the parts of my business that ran on, supply chain, and I knew I needed a smart contract to do that. But I was convinced that I couldn't automate my business because at that time, all of the smart contracts were public by default on Ethereum and other blockchains, right? So I don't want to reveal my supply chain to all of my competitors. I used to develop food products and nutritional products and sell them in across Europe. And yeah, so I knew I needed a private smart contract. That led me to working for some years in Web3 privacy. I used to think that privacy was the biggest challenge to Web3 adoption and blockchain adoption. But now there's plenty of solutions for privacy. We've got, ZKs and FHE and all these advanced forms of cryptography being applied to blockchains. However, we still have every day hacks and crimes and scams. Like even today, there was a $27 million hack. Yesterday, there was a over $40 million hack. It's a daily occurrence. So I really feel for myself like security is the biggest challenge for Web3 right now, and that's why I work at Hacken, doing what I do, advising people about this stuff.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And I'll agree because the more advanced we are growing with the Web3 technology, but on the other side, we're actually like this kind of like those people who are hackers or maybe scammers are also evolving along with the current technology of the Web3. So it's good. It's always good to have an audit before your mainnet, but adding another extra security layer is really good stuff. And as we know, it's also affecting the trust of our users. So, yep, I completely agree. But if I may ask like one questions to you, Brent, like what makes what makes Web3 so interested to you?
I think you nailed it right there. It's always evolving. It's always changing. The pace of innovation is so fast. You have to be able to embrace the change. Right, change is the only constant, as we say. And I just find it like thrilling. Actually, every day there's something new. There's a new challenge. There's a new opportunity. So this is why I work in this industry. I think
Really,
I can see you smiling and nodding. I think you also have the same fire, no?
yes. I mean, it's a really cool ecosystem, I'll say, because every week I always read something new tech every week, new development, new breakthrough. It's like another week is another type of technology. So that's actually really interesting because it keeps me racing with what's actually going on in the Web3. So yeah, I do actually agree with you, and I think you have explained a really good one for the introduction. And I think before we also dive into the main questions or discussions, I would like to ask another quick one question. So we know that why you're interested with the Web3, but since today's topic is about communications, I would like to know what is one thing that instantly makes you trust someone in the conversation. Is that something like a bell ring that actually like, okay, this one is trusted. Okay, this person is trusted, is trustworthy, something like that. Is that such thing in your experience?
I think professionally, just having a good plan, planning ahead is really for me. It shows that you are preparing for the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Yeah, I think this is super important. Like for example, with the work that we do at Hacken, having an audit is usually the last step that you will take on your product development process before you get to mainnet, right? So your code needs to be absolutely ready before the estimation can be made. And we see projects often slip up here when it comes to budgeting. It is hard to budget for cybersecurity in advance because your code, again, needs to be ready before you can get estimations done properly. But that's not to say it's impossible. And there is a lot of funding available from blockchain protocol foundations, from other schemes, even ones that we operate as well, to get funding to cover this cost. And I think the projects that really stand out for me are the ones that are budgeted ahead in advance for this. Like we have a huge crisis in Web3 where, because we don't have much regulation about cybersecurity in the space, in most jurisdictions, the budgets that founders make are often not enough. So just on average, 2% from our research, 2% is allocated from the technology budget for cybersecurity in Web3. When you combine that to reports from Reuters and the Wall Street Journal about Web2, it's 20 to 25% in banking and finance. And most of the protocols that we work with and projects we work with are tackling financial use cases. Across social media and e-commerce and other types of Web2 apps and websites, it's 5 to 10% of the technology budget is allocated for cybersecurity. So in Web3, 2%, and it just shows that there's a clear lack of planning. And I think it's one of the areas that regulation really needs to touch on. Like in my sector in the EU, we now have very strict rules about what we can build in Web3. So Mika and Dora came in at the start of this year. And DORA particularly mentions that projects must have yearly penetration testing, red teaming if they're over a criticality level, and they must have a generally great cybersecurity approach. So this is, in Europe, this is kind of mandated, but other jurisdictions in the world don't have this. So you find that teams will go there, set up a company, they won't, budget effectively. And then when it comes to the point where they want to launch their projects on mainnet, they've put so much effort into developing it. If the budgeting isn't made in advance, if the planning isn't done in advance, then it's going to become a roadblock to actually get to mainnet.
I see. It's actually really interesting because there's a lot of the funding opportunities out there, and I agree with what you've been mentioning, and I also see a lot of the wrong, I would say, like mismanage of the security of the funding that should be more focused on the security aspect, in which that could impact in the long term future for the project itself that actually getting funded. And yeah, I think I also would like to say hi first to of our audiences. So like, let's see how many viewers we have now. We are currently with 116 audience. So hi everyone, thank you for joining. It's a good start. We have hundred of watchers out there. All right. So I think we actually already received one question from the community, but I'd like to keep it on hold until we open the Q&A sessions. For everyone who's been thinking, if you are able to ask questions, so feel free to put all of your concern or questions in the comments that is related with the topic. You can put it on our YouTube live channel comment sections. But if you are unable to do so because some actions might be restricted by YouTube, you can go to our Telegram group. Just put any questions you have there, and we will put it manually to the YouTube comment with our admin. All right, so let's jump into the heart of discussion. So first up, I would like to ask about. So you've been in the Web3 for over than 5 years now. It's actually such a quite a while time. And what does it personally mean to you to actually build a good communication and trust with your partners? Is there any specific things that is really you take into a personal things?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 5 years, but it feels like 40, right?
Yeah.
You really, 1 week to the next, you may completely change your objectives. From what I'm looking for, really, I'm super interested in the frontier tech. So stuff like advanced encryption, post-quantum resistance. This for me is my main passion and the projects that I seek to work with. That mixed with super complex projects, maybe regulators, banks and institutions, this kind of stuff, that are exploring blockchain tech maybe for the first time or very cautiously, shall we say. These kind of long-term complex projects for me give me the most passion for my work. So I tend to seek those out, and particularly where I see a really innovative tech approach. I also compete in hackathons myself as a BD. Occasionally, I try to do a couple of hackathons a year, just to get myself skilled up with the latest dev tooling and feel this process from the developers' perspective. But yeah, so I go to a lot of conferences. I'm going to one at the end of this week, actually. And I'm always looking for the most innovative projects there and trying to build connections, trying to meet the right people, because there's also a lot of noise as well. There's a lot of kind of maybe you're not speaking to the right person, or maybe you're not speaking to the right project or the right decision maker, for example. So it's very important to be clear on who you want to speak to from a project in the beginning. This is from a BD perspective. And try to find out if they're the person that can make the objective that you're trying to achieve happen.
I see. So if, for example, taking communications or maybe bringing communication to the wrong partner is actually exists. So not every project could actually become a partner.
Yeah, for sure. And really, you have to work your ass off to be able to find the right person and the right project to speak to, I think, or the right mover and shaker within the ecosystem. And even then, it's a game of do they have the capacity to speak with you,
Yep.
on a deep level about quite sensitive issues. So yeah, it's a challenge. I feel like hard work is the way to overcome that, for sure.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's also based on experience level, because I think that some people are some BDs, like I'll say some BD experts could actually notice that this is he's not the one that I will be talking to. This project is not actually potentials, even if it looks potential, but it's actually not. But I think those kind of things also happen because of the experience, and I believe you also have those kind of magic intuition as well. Because
Yeah, I would say, thank you. I would say that I work now at Hacken, so it's easy because everybody knows Hacken, so you don't have
yeah,
to do so much of the awareness side. But I have
yes,
worked for
true.
small startups in the past, yeah, and where you have to do a lot of the awareness side, and it's challenging, especially if you have a good service or a great product, but people don't know about it yet. It's very, very
Yep.
challenging, but yeah, I think with Hacken we have a nice reputation that also has its own challenges because it's quite challenging to keep and maintain this reputation over time and keep
Yes.
the level of quality super high, keep the 5-star reviews coming in from clients and partners, so this is also a different type of challenge, shall we say.
Yes, I completely agree, guys, because whenever you reach the top level, like the wind is going to be stronger. So it's really hard to keep standing up and show everyone that we are standing strong, keeping delivering the same quality as expected by a lot of users. Because, for example, like Bryn has mentioned, Hacken is really big as we speak right now, and for example, if you're following a project and then that project announce something like we have been Hacken proof and we've been audited, or maybe we've been partnered with Hacken, like your trust level will be like zoo, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of thing is actually what's Bryn mentioned, is to keep the reputations still up. All
Yeah, I
right,
think
so
I was just going to add, I think it's very important to keep going back to your customers and your clients and making sure that they're having a great time, that the quality is really high. And if you can, get them to keep a
mhm,
record of it as well. So get them to write on a professional review website, and document this
yeah,
stuff, because it's very important to reference back when you are dealing with a new client or a new partner, to say, okay, this is how we performed with the last guys, or here's a specific case study. Like if you go to the blog section of our website on hacken.io, you're going to see all the outstanding case studies that we've worked on. So where we've worked with a particularly pioneering technology, or we had a very, very complex audit over multiple scope levels, we document all that stuff and we publish it, because for us, it gives us so much of this reputation boost when we speak to a new project that has a similar approach or that has a similar level of complexity, that it becomes a really, really powerful tool to help them build up the trust, which is, as you say, the most important thing in Web3.
yes, I agree. I agree. It's some sort of like your portfolio. So it's like Hacken's portfolio, and it's if you can check the website, guys, hacken.io. Feel free to check it. And yes, I completely agree, because it's by showing that kind of things that could also leverage the kind of trust from our potential clients, especially, and it also can build a long-term positive energy, because I will say that, like you mentioned, service is the number one. So make sure that you've been treated your clients really well. Make sure everything is going, or maybe taking care in the professional way. So that kind of clients will feel so satisfied with your service and can come back later in the future. All right. So, from your experience, we would like to know, like, what are the most common mistakes of individuals or brands probably make then when trying to build trust with potential clients or partners? Because uh, you've been in the BD side for a pretty good time, and if you have maybe like seen BD junior, or maybe I believe that you've seen a BD from your partners, is there any common mistakes for these kind of individuals when they try to build a trust?
Yeah, so we have this meme in in blockchain cybersecurity of this guy in the toilet, and then another guy comes up next to him and he's like, "Hey, bro, you want an audit?" So I think this approach, you've seen it, yeah. I think this approach of being like super pushy with people, it just doesn't work. And from my perspective, I have to listen to the person speak about their project before I understand what I can do. So listening and being a good listener is by far the most important thing. Way more important than sending out thousands of blank cold DMs and this kind of stuff. I can speak from the security perspective about where projects are falling down right now, if you like, if that's relevant.
Sure, can do.
Yeah, so so how can we also back up the stuff that we're saying with a lot of research? So every quarter we do a deep research into cybersecurity trends and what hackers, how hackers are changing their tactics. As you mentioned, Theo, they're always evolving with the tech and the times. Right now, 83% of the projects that were successfully hacked and exploited was because of access control and phishing attacks in the first quarter of this year, and last year it was 78% of the total of 2024. So where the issues are happening right now in cybersecurity is with people rather than code. Obviously, code and having audits is very important, having bug bounties is very important, but the vast majority of the exploits that are happening is at the human level. So could be 6-month long phishing campaigns where they get access to maybe a LinkedIn account, and then they get access to an email, and then they get access to more 2FA codes and take over more of your accounts and devices until they find a private key or some access to system admin permissions, this kind of stuff. We're seeing that, fake job interviews where they're getting you to download malicious code and this kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's absolutely rife at the moment. So the time is now for founders and for people working in this space to really improve your operational security. Make sure you have a fantastic cybersecurity approach, because and not just in your code base, because the hackers are targeting people now. And if you're a decision maker, if you're the top level in an organization in Web3, you're going to be a target.
It's actually surprising that 83% is actually because of the human mistakes, or maybe because at first I thought that it was like a fully like maybe like breaching into the server directly, or maybe taking care from some backend, some stuff like that. But it's actually surprising to hear that it's actually from the human level. And
yeah, I mean, if you asked me in 2023 and 2022 what the biggest threat factors were, I would have told you exactly that. Bridges and huge liquidity pools, these were the biggest targets that were being drained and hacked and scammed and this kind of stuff. But now the trend has shifted much more. I mean, we had this $1.5 billion hack on Bybit earlier in the year. It was a combination of access control and malicious code injection into the front end of their safe multisig. Luckily, we worked over the weekend. It happened at 5:10 on a Friday afternoon, just in Europe, just after I messaged our team to say, what are we doing this weekend? And we all had to come back to work. But yeah, we did an emergency proof of solvency for them. So we proved that they were solvent. They had the assets to back the hack. And by Monday, the market recovered. So they did a fantastic job in the recovery from that incident. But yeah, we saw this trend increasing over 2024, this access control of phishing attacks. And I will share with you a checklist after this call that you can share with the community to just go through your device management, password management, and tick off all the boxes to say I have this good approach. It's super important these days. And even in the Web2 space, I mean, we had this breach of 16 was it billion or million passwords the other week there. So if you're still using the same password for anything right now, you need to go into settings and change it.
Guys, now's the time. That's the right time, guys.
Yeah.
Now before it's too late. All right. So thank you for if you are willing to share for our community, then I'll be happy to share it with our community, and I'll be so thankful for that. And as you mentioned, we also in Jaya Thailand we realize how many scam job opportunity out there, especially for the developers because they share some sort of like GitHub code if I'm not mistaken that they need to be installed or maybe they need to be tested or things like that, and it actually draining their wallet. And some of our communities also reported to us that they actually put a bot on your MetaMask, some sort of like so whenever you uh, deposit a crypto on your MetaMask, it will be directly transferred into certain addresses. So that is actually happening as well. And regarding the trust building efforts, we know that trust is always been the first core before we taking things to the next level. How do you actually measure whether your trust building efforts are working? Is there any specific metrics or maybe specific signals that warns you whether this gonna work out or this gonna ruin?
Yeah, I think so. Riz is asking the same question in the chat here about what metrics are used to assess if trust is improving or declining. So hopefully, I can kill two birds with one stone here. As I mentioned before, we really try to get our clients to leave public reviews of our company. So if you check the clutch.co page for Hacken, you're going to see lots of 5-star reviews. And for us, it's the most important thing to get them to give this feedback. Because we can take that and we can show other people. We can show them all the awards that we've won from Clutch and other service provider comparison sites when we are doing the initial conversation. So we can send that on our proposals. We have lots of awards from Clutch. It looks very nice, and then they can check it out for themselves and they can see, okay, so what's this project said about Hacken? What's that project said about Hacken? As I said before, it's super important to document this stuff and to be if you're working with particularly intensive or complex or pioneering projects, to really give them as much support as you can. So an example of how we do that, we would write a technical blog. We would support them with co-marketing over our multiple channels. We have over 300,000 followers on all of our channels. We do regular webinars, so we'll do deep dives into tech, or we'll have interviews with people who are building in the similar space, like AI security, for example. We publish a book quite recently with our lead pen tester about LLM security. So we're one of the first companies to do that. And then, we just try and raise the awareness as much as possible. We also collaborate with other cybersecurity companies on research and on analysis. We publish, for example, research on CER.live, CER.live, into the cybersecurity approach of all centralized exchanges. So you can check there and you can see, okay, which centralized exchange doesn't have good server security or doesn't have good user security features for their users. Which of them doesn't have a pen test done this year? And the pen test doesn't have to be done by Hacken. It could be done by any reputable penetration test team. But we document that stuff. Do they have a bug bounty live? Do they have an insurance fund if they get hacked? And then we publish the research. And that research from CER.live actually feeds directly into CoinGecko's trust score for centralized exchanges. So yeah, I think it's a combination of getting feedback from your clients, of researching deeply the industry, the sector that you're involved in, and publishing the research so others can use it and reference it. And you'll find the reputation just builds itself from that point, I think.
I see. Listening from your explanations, it makes me realize that Hacken is not only doing focusly on audit, but there's actually a lot of things going on from the backside, from maybe operationals, even public rating a public book, and interviewing. So I think that's not an easy things to do, and by creating those kind of activity or maybe program, I'll say that's showing that it's really cool. is there any specific reasons why a hacker itself interested in becoming like the number one audit firm? I'll say in the Web3 ecosystem.
Yeah, precisely because we really expect to see regulation getting stricter around the world. So my big goal is to work with regulators to understand what is the blockchain project, and what do they need to be safe, to be secure, so people don't get hacked. This is the biggest challenge right now. Is every day there's money being extracted from the industry. It's a huge amount. I think it was $2 billion in the first quarter of this year alone. Yeah, has been extracted from this industry, and it's people's money being stolen. It's businesses' money being stolen. It's citizens' money being stolen. And any leader of a country, any regulatory licensing board, does not want their citizens' money to be stolen. It's these situations like FTX and Celsius, these huge scandals. Every time that happens, it sets our industry back a step. We have this fantastic technology.
Yeah.
It improves the efficiency. It improves the transparency. Of financial operations, of all sorts of different use cases. It can't be adopted on a mainstream until it's safe. So this is a huge challenge for us, and we try to work with governments and regulators to understand the tech and to understand what is necessary for a good cybersecurity approach. And I feel like this is the North Star for us. It's the guiding light, shall we say, and we want to position ourselves as the opinion leader, the KOL, whatever it is, in this particular space.
Yeah. The thing that you mentioned, like these scandals like FTX or maybe like a really big hacking issue in the Web3, is actually putting us back forward. So I think that's what happened with the Web2 users, I'll say, when they are trying to deep dive into the Web3. And if the first time they saw about the news or maybe articles that is about hacking, about scamming, about everything, it's actually lowering their interest on learning more about the Web3, because they might be seems it Web3 as a really wild west that is not safe to be played. But on the other side, we have our own like smart contract police also, so stuff like that. So I completely agree with your opinion, and I think it's 30 minutes past, so I think it's time for opening up the question from the community. So we have some questions on YouTube, and we have some more to my DMs and some more on Telegram. Sorry, but we only might take like 3 questions. But if we still have time, we might answer to 5. So let me put one of the questions out here. Like, okay, this one coming from the ANRH Web3. So the question is, what red flag should we watch out for when we evaluating any potential partners?
I think quite simply, it's super important to do a good background check on these potential partners and clients. Like we're very careful to do this check before we start working with a project, especially if it could damage our reputation. So checking stuff like, do they have LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn legit? You can do, if they have a domain, if they have a website, you can do a whois lookup, and this is really, really, really important for before you invest in a project. Look at where the domain is registered. If it's anonymous, private, this is a red flag.
Yes.
And also if you do detect a scammer using a fake website, you can also submit a report to their domain registrar and get their site taken down. So this is a good way to fight against scammers who target your profile, copy your website, this kind of stuff. As well, if they just DM you out of the blue on Telegram or Signal, obviously it's highly likely, 99.99% to be a scammer. Just be careful out there and make sure your personal device security is locked down. Have 2FA on everything. Have unique passwords for every account. Don't let yourself be a victim if someone gets access to 1 or 2 of them.
I see. That's a completely good advice, and thanks for that. And that might be coming from the BD perspective, who are looking for the potential clients or maybe partners. But what if we reverse things around? Like, for example, is there any specific case like where a project approaching you to they would like to be partner up with Hacken, or maybe they would like to use your service, but you might reject them, or maybe you decline them because you don't seem they're trusted. Is there ever such a case previously?
Yeah, it happens quite a lot. If we detect an obvious scam, obviously we won't work with them. If we were to work with a project that was not trustworthy and then publish an audit report, it would damage our reputation. So we're very, very, very careful about who we work with, doing background checks, doing KYB, this kind of stuff before we sign any contracts.
Yes, sometimes reputation's worth more than money, guys. So if it's too risky to risk our reputation, then it might not be worth it. All right. So next question is coming from the Sweco. The question is, how do you can actually make them clients trust you if they don't see the importance of your product or service?
So again, I would mention referencing back to work you've already done here and making sure that you have published and documented case studies where you've done a great job, or you've solved particular challenges. It's very important from a client, and I've been on the client side of this many times. It's important to see a history of good jobs, of good service before making a decision on a service provider. For products, it's a little bit different. You have to market the product really well. You have to hit a niche that people actually want. And you have to be faster than your competition. There's different challenges for products and services, particularly. But the main advice I could give is just make sure that you are, thoroughly research the business that you're in, and document why your product or service is better than everyone else's, and then give examples of work that you have done.
Cool. So it's also giving like your portfolio, whatever you have done that, or maybe things that you've been solving before. That's will affecting everything.
Yeah, and testimonials as well. It works very
Yep,
well, I think.
definitely. Then testimonials always works. It's like shopping in the marketplace where you always read the review first before you buy anything. So that also happening in the Web3, guys. All right. So next, we have some interesting questions actually. I'll put this up first from a Moise official. So from your perspective at Hacken, how do smart projects position their audits to maximize trust in conversations with potential investor or ecosystem partners?
Yeah, it's a good one. I say the smartest ones, they concentrate on how they fixed issues that were found. Okay, so during the audit process, we do this live as well. We have a portal where vulnerabilities are published as they're found by auditors. So the dev team from the projects can actually address them in real time. They don't have to wait for a giant PDF document before they can start to fix the issues that are found. But particularly projects that focus on, okay, we had this issue, this is how we fixed it, this is the story. Some projects are so complex that we have to go a few times through cycle of refactor and re-audit before we get ready for launch. So yeah, just telling that story. And then also, I think the best projects, they concentrate on, okay, we did the audit, we passed it with flying colors, we fixed all the issues, we go on to mainnet, but it doesn't stop there. Here's our bug bounty program. Here's how we leverage real-time threat monitoring and detection, to protect our project and protect you guys for the future. We all want to see a long-term business trajectory, right? We're not making things just to pump them and dump them. We want to see a long-term project. So I think it's super essential. And then I would say as well, very, very important from our perspective, we have seen in the past where projects have had one feature of their product audited, like a token, for example. I'm just giving an example here. And then a staking contract is launched, and the staking contract wasn't audited, and the staking contract got wrecked when it went to mainnet. It's super important when you make changes and upgrades and this kind of stuff to have a third pair of eyes. Or in our case, we use two auditors, so it will be four eyes on the project to make on the new features to make sure that it is secure. Because if you add in new meatballs to the spaghetti, then there's no guarantee that the taste is going to be good, right?
Yes, completely true. It's like saying, don't judge by its look, or don't judge by the cover. Sometimes, whatever happens inside is not as good as it looks outside.
Yeah, I mean,
All
from
right.
our side, if you see if a project's been audited by Hacken, we have a direct integration with CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So you're going to see exactly if the project has been verified to be audited by us. So
Yes, so that's some sort of like things that good to notice, because in some cases they even put like the description on their bio, on their project bio on X, like we've been audited by, or maybe we've been hack and proof, like for example. So some sort of like that is actually happening on X. So that's actually one of the way that I would say, if that could also add up to the answer, that is affecting the trust from the investors, or from the B2C or maybe the B2B perspective. So it's always good, because that's showing you are actually care about what you're building. So you put something like we've been audited, or maybe we are hack and proof, or things like that. All right, move on to the next question. I think we still have time to answer two more. Would you mind to answer another more
yeah,
questions?
for sure. Let's go.
All right, amazing. So the next one is from Rakabani. All right. So, as someone who works at the intersection of security and strategy, what are the common blind spots you see from BD teams when it comes to communicating security maturity?
Oh, I'll say, okay, I have seen recently, again, not naming names, but I have seen that projects are announcing that they've been audited before the audit's complete. So
Okay.
definitely do not do that, guys, because that is going to result in some tough conversations. Yeah, I think BD teams should be more educated about this stuff. Okay, so understand what deployment security is and post deployment security, because it's stuff that you can say in conversations when you're talking to new users or investors or clients or partners, whatever the conversation is, the profile that you're speaking to. If you can explain how your project has a better security approach than your competition or most of the market, for example, in a clear and concise way, with multiple steps, they're going to have more trust in you. If your security pitch involves you had audits, you have a bug bounty, you have real-time protection, you have good team and operational security, this is fantastic. And for tier one VCs and exchanges that are listing projects as well, it's super important that they have this approach. Thank you, Rocket Bunny. That was an awesome question.
That's actually a deep one.
Yeah.
I'll agree. I agree. And I think it's good to you mentioned that we actually need to understand like the pre and the post, because we could also position our status of the project, so it's not also miscommunications from the project itself to the users. So
Yeah.
it's
I
really
mean,
important.
I would add as well, you can also draw on the many almost daily examples of hacks in the space, and you can say,
Yeah.
okay, well, these guys, this project got wrecked because of this. This was why. Here's how we mitigate this. Here's how we prevent that from happening to us. So you can also tell a little bit of a story as well. I mean, everyone's interested in crime and the
Yes.
spicy hacks, right? So it's a good conversation starter, or a good hook for these combos. Okay.
Yes, it's always be such a really good story to tell.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a really unique question here. So I believe you're also reading it at the moment. So
There's some funny
let
ones
me.
coming in.
Yes. So let's say someone slides into your DMs with a pitch deck, no audit, the phrase "we're the next ETH killer." On a scale from 1 to run, how fast do you close the tab?
Run immediately. Run. Well, probably I would start asking them some tough questions for myself, but you should run.
But what if like they are being audited, but the rest are the same? Like the approach
Oh,
are really like straightforward. Like, hey, Bryn, we are next Ethereum, or maybe we're the next Solana. We've been audited.
I mean, it depends on what stage they are, really, mate. You know, there's a lot of projects that are very early stage that will claim to be ETH killers. We must benchmark and test these claims, my friends.
We need to have like some sort of like standards on.
Yeah.
All right,
I
all
see
right.
some interesting ones from Crypto Vader a little bit further up. Maybe
Mhm.
if we could highlight those.
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. So I think that will be it for today, everyone. We actually have another more questions, but I think we will be done by the night. But before we wrap up, actually, in Jayaton here, especially for the Jaya Talk sessions, we always have secret questions to be asked into our speaker. So it will be not brief anywhere actually for everyone. Some of our community actually the one who requested it. We have a Google form that been shared. So if they have like a unique question or maybe mystery question, secret question to be asked for our speakers, that will be 100% coming from our community. So I think the question that I would like to ask for you before we wrap up is from one of our most common requests is, what is your quote of the day?
It's always cheaper. It's always cheaper to pay a white hat hacker than a black hat hacker.
Yes,
It is
yes,
completely
because
true.
yes, I completely agree. Because it's always good to get your hands clean as well. It's also cheaper, so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can find over 45,000 white hats on hackandproof.com. And I
Yes.
recommend anyone that's interested in becoming a security researcher to go there and start this journey of doing bug bounties. It's a fantastic way to level up your techie skills.
Yes, guys, join the Hacken Guild. Hey, that's really cool. All right, so feel free to visit the Hacken.io, or maybe follow them on the social media. I will share in a bit regarding all of their social media that you can follow. You can stay tuned. They have those kind of bug bounties. That's really cool because it's also a good way to get some checks to support your project by doing bug bounties, because a lot of projects are also doing the same things uh, for that, and then they can move on to the hackathon. So some sort of like a flow like that is a really famous one right now. And again, Bryn, I would like to say thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. And this has been such a really interesting and insightful conversation. There's a lot of new knowledge that I've actually I completely idea what's going on from your kitchen, especially from the Hacken's kitchen. But now we have more knowledge that you guys are actually care about these kind of scammy or maybe hacky things in the Web3. So it's a really positive way.
Yeah, 100%. I guess, and thank you so much for having me. I guess I'll close out by saying keep an eye on our socials, Hacking Club on Twitter, Hacking Blockchain Security Auditor on LinkedIn, because next week we're going to publish the first half of 2025 security report. So we're going to dig into how the trends are changing, how hackers are changing their tactics. Is access control and phishing still the number one threat vector? I think probably so, but yeah, we're going to publish a lot of research next week and data, and we're going to publish some practical steps that you can take to defend yourselves against this stuff.
Exciting, guys! Not only do the Dior for yourself when you try to jump into the new project or maybe new tokens, new coin, but also we need to take our security level, personal security level, into higher steps, because in Web3, it's not an easy word. It's not an easy world for those people who are not really self security aware. So it's always good. And I'll be sharing the materials that Brian has shared me on the group. and you guys can keep tuning up in our Telegram group, and I'll share it in a bit. All right, to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. If this helped shift your perspective on trust, especially in the security perspective in the Web3, don't forget to like the streams, share it with your team, and hit subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes. And this has been Jaya Talks episode 12, and we will see you again until next time. And until next time, stay mindful, stay building, and stay safe. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bryn. It's always nice to
Cheers.
talk with you. See you in the
Bye,
future.
guys.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.